Yeah, great stuff here at Harbor Radio. It is Thursday, and it's about a minute before 9 o'clock, and we are going to call here. We'll see how this works. Hopefully, I got the line working today. Let's see if it works. I don't hear it, so let's just take that out quickly. And we'll see if we can get Riley Harrison Clark on the phone. There's a ring. Let's see. Let's see if he answers. Hopefully he'll answer. Hopefully he doesn't ignore my call today.
Hello.
Hey, Riley Harrison Clark, buddy. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I have been up. I have had a couple cups of coffee. Maybe I've had too much coffee already. I don't know yet, but I'm doing really well.
I was going to ask you before we even got started in the interview if you even realized that there was a 9 a.m. I mean, that's...
Normally I don't. Here's the deal. I didn't until I started having to take kids to school.
There you go.
Yeah.
It changes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. And then I have a kid that wants to be at school early, because that's just more time to hang out.
Oh.
So... when I started having to take them to school, I realized there were 2 8 o'clocks, 7 o'clocks, and even earlier some days.
It's a whole different world, but so thankful, Riley, we were able to get this to work out. We'll chat a little bit. Going to play a couple of songs here today, and just talk about Riley Harrison Clark. Of course, you sang for many years with Tribute Quartet. And were they the first group you traveled with?
They were the first group I traveled with. I was 18 years old when I started with them. I had came from Lee University, and I had sang for a very short time with the Voices of Lee, who a lot of listeners would probably be familiar with because of their appearances on Gaither videos and National Quartet Convention and things of that nature. So, But I quickly realized college wasn't for me. And so I went home, and shortly after I went home, I joined Tribute. Gary called one day and said, "Hey, would you want to sing tenor for me?" And I said, "Sure."
See, now, that's cool to me because and I was trying to think back, and I didn't do all my homework before the interview. Naughty on me.
That's okay.
But we had Tribute, I think it was 3 months after they formed, the group Tribute.
Uh-huh.
Were you in that initial, or did you come in a year or so after they had been formed?
Yeah, no, I came in, it would have been a little over 2 years after they had formed, because they had 2 tenors.
Right.
They started with Jacob Kitson, who ended up singing with Greater Vision, and then Brian Alvey was right after that, and Brian went on to sing with Kingdom Heirs and whatnot. So, and then I started, and then whenever I started, that was 2010, I guess, and I was with them for about 9 years.
Yeah, it was great. So we saw you from the birth of your career. I remember.
Yes.
Remember this punky kid that came up that year to Ridgeway?
Yeah. That was me.
And the cool thing is we've talked about the friendships, relationships that Joy and Dad and I from our singing, our hosting that we built with so many groups. And I remember 2 incidences. The one, whenever you told us, of course, that you were going to be a dad for the first time. That was the coolest thing. And if I remember, I think Joy and I got Christmas gifts for all of you guys, and we kind of presented the thing.
Yeah, at the concert, if I'm not mistaken. You presented us with those, and I remember that very well.
I think we got you. One of the things was sanitizer, hands.
Yep. And, of course, I went through everything that was in that little toolbox, but Colbin still uses that toolbox for,
very cool.
a million different things. Yeah, that's the truth. I ran out of gloves like the first day I got back from the road, but then But yeah, Coleman still uses that toolbox though. All that stuff came in.
That is very cool. Yeah, our guys use every container, box, anything they get until they break. And then after they break, they still use it. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, then it's just, hey, Dad, can you fix this so I can keep using it? Can I fix this, $2 toy that we could just probably go get another one of? Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. We're going to play a song. We're going to come back. We're going to start with one I really enjoyed so much. Still is the song we're going to start with. So let's play that. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit and share some more memories, and then we'll get into talking about your brand new single. But here's Riley Harrison Clark. Beautiful song, Still, right here on Harbor Radio. Thanks for tuning in. Tell a friend. We're going to chat with him a little more right after this.
I spend my whole life working my own plan, doing all I can just to be accepted, living every day the way people thought I should, just trying to look good, but that's not really living. The whole time I thought I was all alone, but the truth is I was never on my own. Still, you were interceding for me, being all the strength that I need when I am weak. Always making me whole, moving through the depths of my soul. When I get still, when I get still, here I am again. I need to hear you speak. I'm on my knees, praying for forgiveness. It's been a while, I know that I've let you down, so please hear me out. You know that I need you, but I can feel your presence all around, so I know you are working even now. Interceding for me, being all the strength that I need when I am weak. Oh, still faithful, always making me whole, moving through the depths of my soul. When I get still, when I get still. Oh, stumbled and fell short of your grace, or walked out of the shadow of your cross. Still, you were interceding for me, being all the strength that I need when I am weak. Oh, through the depths of my soul. When I get still, you're moving through the depths of my soul. When I get still. Still, faithful, always making me whole, moving through the depths of my soul.
Riley Harrison Clark, Still, for you on Harbor Radio. 8 minutes past the top of the hour. We're chatting with Riley. I was talking with him off the air. We're catching up. Haven't talked with him in a few months, and so we're just catching up on old stories. I've got one for you before we get talking about your new song, and I love this. Do you remember? Why always, and this is something, if you're a promoter and you listen to this, you need to be, and I don't know, it's just me, I treat groups, I try to get them, whenever I bring a group in, I try to get them out of the entertainment mode and take them and do something different. All of you promoters need to do something like this. Get them away and just
from Walmart. Get us away from Walmart.
Yeah, get them away from all this things. But it is, they need to do that. Promoters, you need to treat these groups, get them out and pamper them a little bit, have a little bit of fun and build some memories. I remember two memories, and I'm going to see if you remember these. I'm sure you will, because you remember the cleaning box. Remember going to the antique store?
Yes.
And
yep.
Do you remember the very strange item that we were all amazed by at the antique store? Don't remember that one. You don't remember?
I don't know that I remember the item, but yeah, I can see the antique store, the toy store, that chocolate shop. Yeah, I like that whole area. Yeah,
that strange item. Remember the coffin? They had that wooden coffin.
Yeah, I do remember that. I can see that whole place in my head now. Yes, I do remember that.
I mean,
I thought about, getting it discounted just for whenever that day might come for me. I'd save some money, but we couldn't get it in the bus.
That's too funny. The other memory I remember, and this one, I've told this to so many people. I remember that Josh, we went to the Henry Ford Museum.
Yep.
And we took him through. And if you've ever been to the Henry Ford Museum, they have a few like hands-on things that you can look at and listen to, touch. Well, it was in the airport section of this Henry Ford, and they had headphones that you put on. And do you remember this?
I'm remembering, okay. I think.
He put on headphones. And we're all standing there. You were there. I think Gary was there with us. Everybody kind of split. Maybe Anthony was with us. But he put the headphones on, and it was supposed to be the sound of a jet taking off and flying down the expressway and taking off. And he put them on, and he's turned around going, "This isn't working. There's nothing working." And I took my phone. And I went and Googled airplane.
Yes, I do remember this.
I Googled airplane sound taking off or where it was, and I put it behind his head, folks, on the left side of his earphone, and then I moved it to the right side. And he turned around and his eyes were...
Yep. I do remember that.
And he goes, "It works. It works."
That Henry Ford thing, what's interesting is I was just visiting my parents in Oklahoma, and my brother lives out there, and I had forgotten that my brother was with us on that trip. My brother would come out 2 times a year or so with us and just be out with us on the road. I have an older brother, and he said, we were just talking about random things, and he said one of my favorite times that he got to go on the road with us was when we went to the Henry Ford Museum, and I had forgotten that he was on that trip. But
that's right.
I'll agree with him. I loved that Henry Ford Museum. There was so much stuff. I mean, we could have spent the whole day in there. I want to go back, and I want to take Megan. But my brother brought that up just a couple weeks ago, and again, I forgot that he had went with us on that trip. But that was a good trip. That was a good. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Hey, take a summer vacation and come on up, and maybe we could have you do a Friday night drive-in concert with us outside.
Yeah,
we'll go to Henry
it.
Ford. What the kids would love too is the Greenfield Village, to get to ride the train, and they have all the old homes outside. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Ton of stuff.
That'd be great.
Question for you. Got a question here. Yantina listening today. She wrote in and wanted to know about the solo career. Now, it had to be a big step going from being in a group of tribute. And I mean, really, Riley, life was just on cruise control for you. And then you made a big step. How did that transition come about? How's it going?
Yeah, so I'll try and keep it pretty short. it's real easy for someone to jump off of the road or off of the bus or out of a group when things are kind of maybe a little squirrely or things aren't going so well, or maybe they've plateaued to a place that they might want to go beyond where the group is or something along the lines of. But that wasn't the case with Tribute. And I think that's what confused everyone, including myself, is that everything was going great. I mean, we were doing great on radio. Dates were going so well. We were seeing a lot of cool things happen, but I could not deny God's voice when Megan and I began feeling like there was a transition coming a little over a year before I came off the road with the guys, but I didn't know what that would look like. I didn't know when it would be, and I didn't know I honestly didn't know that it would be out of the group. I just thought it might be something new that we could do, outside of the group. And so we kept praying about it. And I just woke up one morning on the bus and with an undeniable voice in my spirit. And it said, "This is the weekend. You've got to tell Gary." And I kind of argued with the Lord, of course. And I went in, I got off the bus. We were parked at Walmart, of course. And I was doing my morning regimen of going in Walmart, walking almost every aisle just to kind of get a little exercise. And I called Megan on my way into Walmart. We started just small talk. And she said, "Before you say anything else, I need to say this. I woke up this morning and I felt so heavy in my spirit that this is the weekend you're supposed to tell Gary." And I was like, oh boy, this is getting harder to argue. And so that weekend, I just prayed and prayed and prayed. And we were in Texas, and all the guys went into a mall. We were parked at a mall, and all the guys went in, and I stayed on the bus. And I just started asking the Lord. I said, "You've got to help me with this. You got to help me know. I need some peace." And I felt the Lord tell me, and I'm not trying to be super spiritual, but I felt the Lord tell me that I needed to go back in Gary's room, which is the back lounge of the bus. That's Gary's kind of lair. We switched the lock, on the outside of the door so that, we only let him out whenever he needed to be out. But anyway, I went back to Gary's room and I just started speaking peace over the room and direction. And that on the way home that evening, one more time, I tried one more time to get the Lord to, change his mind, I guess. And I told the Lord, I said, "I'm going to text Gary and see if he's awake, see if he's busy back there. If he's not busy, then I'll go back. But if he's busy, that's going to be my sign." And I text Gary, and not only did he say that he wasn't busy, but without even knowing what I needed, he said, "Yeah, come on back." And I was like, oh man, so I opened his door and I'm telling you, David, immediately when I opened his door, the peace of God just fell over me and I believe it fell over Gary. And it was just the easiest way to transition. And Gary started just talking to me about the transition and what it could look like for me and whatnot. And the truth about it is there was no reason that I left other than I knew the Lord was ready for me to, and I couldn't deny that. And many, many, many things would happen through that next year of me being a soloist that would just totally confirm that we made the right decision. Though it was so hard, we made the right decision. And Gary just kept I talked to him every other week, or he'll either text or call and just make sure things are going well. There are business decisions that I've made that's like I've had little Gary on my shoulder, just over spending the years that I did with him, Gary just so well, and managing a group and the business side of things. And I've learned a lot from that.
Sure.
So I jump off the bus and I start my solo thing. And I was concerned at first, for a lot of reasons, financially being one. We were in a great place. Megan was able to stay home with the kids, and she'd go out and do her hair and makeup for video and photo shoots whenever they needed her to, but she wasn't pressured, and I didn't want that to have to change. And God just started showing up, and one thing after another, one blessing after another, one door after another. And so 2019 was an incredible year. We sent Glory to Radio. It was the first single to radio. it did well on radio, a lot better than I was expecting. And then it ended up being nominated for a Dove Award that year. And that, it just was such a good year. And we started, what I saw happening when I changed was that I was able to share my story. Which a lot of people don't know, and the struggles of my life, and the things that I've walked through, the things I'm continuing to walk through, and what has brought me to the place in ministry that I've been in, and that's it's hard to share when there are four of you. It's hard to be an individual in a group, understandably, and the ministry is just different there. The atmosphere is different there, and so. But what I started seeing was that in my solo ministry, and with that first solo album. I was just really able to be myself and to share my story, and people, honestly, I don't think people were expecting that. They would come to the table and go, I had no idea, or well, I mean, of course you didn't, and I wouldn't expect you to, or they would just. Lives were changed differently. We saw amazing things happen with Tribute. It was just different. In the solo ministry, so it's been good. The first year was just so good. It was incredible dates, and the impact, and us feeling as though we were more effective than even we thought we might be at first. And then COVID happened the next year.
And the world stops.
That shut everything down. And that's been hard. I feel like when everything gets back to normal, whatever that might look like, I'm going to have to reintroduce myself. But, hey, remember me? I'm a soloist now. But...
It's tough to do that. I mean, for all of us. So we were talking off the air. I mean, we don't have any dates. We haven't been in a church since June, and trying to plan some outdoor things for the spring and summer, and it's just hard to do. But Doug and Sandy say hello.
Yes.
They're
hello, Doug and Sandy.
They are on our live page on our website, and he wants to know: are you still doing studio work?
Yeah, so I'm actually in the middle of recording 2 new singles. You're kind of the first place I've actually mentioned that. I'm in the middle of recording two singles that will be released digitally within the next 4 or 5 months. Actually, one of the guys that's co-producing, he ended up getting COVID, and that kind of slowed the whole process down. He had some other things that came up whenever that transpired, and so it sort of slowed a few things down, but we're still moving forward. One of those songs I wrote, and then another song is more kind of like a modern hymn. Stylistically, it's written like a hymn. I'm really excited to share them. Cool. And so we're still doing some studio work, and I've done some BGV work on a few little things, and we're moving along. It's just everything looks so much different than it did,
And those out of the industry, BG work is really, it's not the Bee Gees, not from the day. It's background vocals, is what he's saying.
Sorry,
he's not with the Bee Gees.
Interestingly enough, Ben Isaacs texted me one day, and one night, it was like I think it may have been a Friday night. Either way, it was late in the evening. It was like 10:30 in the evening. He said, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "Well, I'm not really sure. What do you got?" And he said, "I need one more vocalist for a project I'm working on." And I said, "Yeah, okay, that's fine." So I got to the studio, and it ended up being Jimmy Fortune's latest record. So ended up singing some background vocals on Jimmy Fortune's latest record. So that was fun. And you know what, David? The other thing that I've been able to do is I've been able to be in church. And that sounds, maybe flippant, or well, everybody's in church if we can be in church, But for 10 years, I've not been able to be involved in church. My Sundays are at your church, or at their church, or at somebody else's church. Right. But I've been able to be at church, and our church has an incredible music team. Matter of fact, if anybody's familiar with the Huckabee Show, Trey Corley, who is the director of Music City Connection, they play everything on the Huckabee Show. But the majority of those instrumentalists and the background vocalists on the Huckabee Show are actually involved music team. So
very cool.
It's been fun to be able to worship corporately with our church and be involved in our church. You know, Megan always jokes she felt like a single mom going to church because I was just never there. You know, so that's been really good too.
Yep. It's great. Waterford, Michigan in here, Frankfort in here, Vicksburg, Michigan, Brooklyn, Irving, Georgia. We've got another Indiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida in here. So we got some folks listening all over the place. We thank you for tuning in. Riley, let's talk about the new song. And whenever we play it, we actually have got a little clip from one of the co-writers, Lee Black, talking and introing the song of why they wrote it. And they wrote this thing really for you, didn't they?
Yeah, we did. We had, I was trying to pick some songs for my first project, and I wanted to co-write. I wanted to start really co-writing. I had written a little before, but I wanted to really kind of try and step it up, and God opened some amazing doors with some real A-list writers, and Lee Black and Susie Smith being one of those. They're some of my dearest friends, but they're some of the greatest co-writers, the greatest writers in our industry and beyond. And so I had a session with them, and I walked in, and I knew I wanted to write about the faithfulness of God. The faithfulness of God is something that I had really, with tribute at the end of most concerts, we would walk into a moment of just reminding people that even beyond God loving you. I mean, I think that obviously that's the most important thing. The love of God and expressing that to the people, and the people realizing that they do, that they can have a relationship and experience that love of God. I think as equally as important as the love of God is, it's reminding people of his faithfulness, particularly in a time like this. And so at the end of most concerts, I'd ask the question, you know, how many remember a time that God was faithful? And the really awesome thing that I love about that question is, and I'd have them raise their hand, is that everyone would raise their hand. Everybody in the place would raise their hand, because it's not somebody that can't think of a time that God was faithful. And I'd have them keep their hand up for this reason, because my next question would be, well, how many came in here dealing with a situation, or struggling through a situation, or not understanding a situation, or, you know, but with their hand up, they're remembering and reminding themselves of a time that God was faithful in the midst of their current circumstance. And the really amazing thing about that is that God doesn't change. His word says that he won't, he can't. And so if he was faithful to you once, he's going to be faithful again. And there's so many times that we start facing a circumstance, and it's difficult to trust God for whatever reason. It's difficult to trust God because we're human and we want to figure it out ourselves. But if we can remember a time that God was faithful before, and if we can trust with all our heart that he is who he says he's going to be, then we know without a doubt he'll be faithful again. And so I walked into that session, and I just told them that. That's the conversation we had, and I started with, I said, I want the melody of, and now I'm not going to be able to think of it. I want the melody, the intro and all, to begin with a Phantom of the Opera song. I cannot think of what it is right now. But anyway, so Lee sat down at the piano, and he started just playing and goofing off and trying to figure it out. And it just started flowing. And the presence of God was in the room, and we started writing. And I have found that obviously I wanted that message on my album, but I didn't realize how much I'd be holding on to it myself. I mean, you write things and you don't know that COVID's down the road. You know, you don't know that a pandemic's going to hit and you have no dates. You don't know. And so I'm having to, as people so often say in ministry, I'm having to live what I preach. I'm having to live what I sing. And so I'm proud of this song. I'm grateful that Lee and Sue were willing to write with me, and I love this song, and it's one of my favorites, and it's one of the more effective songs that I am able to sing because of the simple reminder.
I completely love this song. The first time I heard it, the first time we played it, It's doing well here at Harbor Radio, and it's a song. I think this is going to be a song, Riley. Really, other radio folks, if they don't chart it well, there's something wrong with them, because I mean, just the message in this song is encouraging. It's truth. It's biblical. It is everything that we need to be doing ministry, and that's what I love about Your Heart. I've loved about so many groups that we've had. Is it's about ministry. It's not entertaining. You have to entertain to a point.
Sure.
You have to keep people wanting to come back and smile,
Yep.
but you've got to get the ministry, and this song does that. And Riley, I thank you so much for taking time today. Sorry to hold you up a little longer than what I promised you.
No big deal.
But I could chat for hours. I mean, the memories and the fun. I won't even get to that cheese factory and not posting pictures.
We don't need to worry about it.
We won't talk about that. Oh my! All right, we're going to have Lee Black talk and introduce Riley again. Thank you so much. You have a blessed day, and hug those little kids. And hey, this summer, man, make a trip. Would love to have you up here.
Well, thank you, David. I appreciate you playing the music. I appreciate you playing my music, and know that what you do is very important, and it's very appreciated. So
we thank you. Here's Lee Black talking about really why they wrote this song for Riley Harrison Clark.
We wrote it specifically for Riley at a time when he had been with Tribute Quartet for years and was really considering stepping away from that, answering a call of God on his life to pursue this solo ministry. It was a calling, sure, but there's still that sense of, am I making the right decision? Am I doing the right thing? Stepping away from this security. And so we wrote it for him, but we wrote it for everybody who's on the verge of the unknown, just as a way of saying, God's never forsaken you. He's never let you down.
Can you think of a time when the hand of the Lord walked you through? Of a day that was dark, but you felt his arms carry you. Think of all of the moments his love was right there. Keep them fresh in your mind, and once the picture is clear, lift your hand in praise. 'Cause he hasn't changed. Remember his faithfulness. Remember his faithfulness. All he was yesterday, today he'll be the same. He promises nothing less. Though heartache may still remain, he never withholds his grace. Don't ever forget, he hasn't failed yet. Remember his faithfulness. When times are hard and you suffer, when the nights are so long and get longer, when you're looking up from the bottom, you are not forgotten. Remember his faithfulness. Remember his faithfulness. Don't ever forget, He hasn't failed yet. Remember His faithfulness. Don't ever forget, He hasn't failed you yet. Remember His faithfulness.